Hey, it's Tommy the Butcher for Wise Guys Barbecue, back with another video. Hickory smoked beef jerky. We did it on the pellet smoker. Italian and teriyaki. I'm about to show you how you can do this at home, but before we get started, please like, share, subscribe, ring that notification bell. Stick around, we're smoking together. All right, let's talk about our beef for our beef jerky. Now, it's highly recommended that if you're gonna do beef jerky, you need to do something with an extremely lean, low fat content, and highly recommend any cut from the round. So beef round, beef top round, beef eye round, even the bottom round, but primarily you want beef top round. That's what we're gonna do today. We're gonna break down the whole top round, show you exactly how we're gonna go about getting our jerky meat off of this. Of course, we're gonna have a whole lot of extras off to the side. First of all, like I said, with the leanness, you do not want any meat, any beef with a high fat content in it, because what will happen if there's too much fat, even though it's gonna be dried out over the process of a long, slow cook, any fat content will make the jerky rancid. You don't want that. The fat has a high moisture content. Even though you're doing a drying process, that fat will still retain too much moisture, more moisture than you want, and it could very likely cause your jerky to go rancid. So that's why any cut from the round, top round primarily, is ideal for doing beef jerky. All right, let's get going. On one side here, there's what we call the heel. There's a lot of separations in the muscle. It's not that clean. It's primarily best suited for either ground beef or stew meat. So I'm gonna remove this first. It basically goes to about maybe right to this spot. So first thing we're gonna do is remove that. I'm gonna put it aside for another purpose. I'll decide after we're done getting a beef jerky cut from this. Then there's another section here where there's a lot of veins and kind of sinew, and we're gonna just go in there and on an angle, just kind of clean that right out. Next thing, there's a ridge of fat right along here. I'm gonna go ahead and remove that. And the next step we need to do is, there's a cap on this. We wanna remove that cap, and that'll allow us to get right into the solid lean muscle underneath. So we're gonna start off to the side here and just follow that seam. Butchering is all about seams for the most part. It's finding the seam, locating the seam, and make the anatomy work for you, not against you. So once we get that seam, we're basically just gonna follow it. Just pull, follow, pull, follow. Every time you pull it, it's gonna expose an area where you'll know exactly where to place your knife if you have to. Now we got this all cleaned up. We got the whole solid top round muscle. All we need to do is trim off all the surface fat. When you're doing this, you really don't want to see any white at all. Get most of it off, if not all of it off, because like I said, you don't want that fat in your jerky. This is probably the only process in which you want to remove all the fat in all of cooking. That is the only time when the fat is actually going to work against you. Most of the time the fat works for you to give you flavor, to give you tenderness, to give you nice juiciness. But now with beef jerky, you want it dry as a bone, so eliminate all that fat. Now there's a lot of meat here. Obviously, if you're going to do beef jerky at home, you're not going to be using this whole piece for yourself. So when you go to your meat market, or you go to your butcher shop or the supermarket, look for top round roast or even top round steak for that matter. But if you want a top round steak, you need to get it thick, something what they call a London broil. Make sure, you'll have to ask the butcher, get it about 2 or 3 inches thick, because once it's 2 or 3 inches thick, just a steak, you can place that down and thinly slice, cross the grain all the way across it, and you can get your nice little beef jerky strips that way, or just have the butcher do it. He can do it for you. Like I said, a lot of this trim I'm gonna reserve. We're gonna go through it later. We're gonna save some for ground beef, and whatever we don't use for ground beef, it's gonna make some stew meat out of it. You can even make some kebabs out of it, but there's a lot of product there you don't wanna waste if you're gonna go this route, doing a whole top round. There's many different uses you can do for that, or with that. All right, this is looking pretty good at this point. I'm gonna flip it over. Now I'm gonna start slicing thin slices. You want it about 1/8 to 1/4 inch thick. There's a clear side to this. I'm gonna place it so it's away from me and literally just go in here. I'm gonna square it off first of all and literally just go in here and start slicing 1/8 to 1/4 inch thick steaks. So I'm looking to get about 5 pounds. We're gonna be doing about 5 pounds of this for our jerky today. All right, I'm gonna stop there. I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna start cutting these up into smaller individual pieces. Now, if you run across any intramuscular fat, like we did here, there's not much you can do about that. What I would do is kind of like work your way around it. So I'll cut on one side. There's the one piece of jerky meat here, and I'll go in and I'll remove that fat. And then basically you just wanna go about, I don't know, 1 inch or 2 in width, maybe 4 or 5 inches in length. That'd be fine. You really don't have to be too fussy with this. They don't all have to be perfectly uniform. So I'm gonna start working off all our slices here and get a pile of jerky going. Now, like I said, you want these about 1/8 to 1/4 inch thick. If you're slicing it and they seem to be a little too thick, I'll show you a little trick you can do to get them a little bit thinner. All you'd have to do is just take the butt of your hand and literally just pound it. You can even use like a hammer fist, that'll work as well. But that would kind of pound it out, it'll make it thinner. Not only that, it'll expand the slice of meat. All right, we got a pile of jerky meat. We've got about 5 pounds here. We're gonna get them into I got 1 gallon Ziploc bags. We're gonna get them all marinated up. So let's do it. I'm gonna break this up in 2. Put equal amounts in both bags and just throw it in here. You don't have to be fussy because we're gonna get that marinade in there. We'll be playing with it and mixing it around and slapping it around for the next few hours until we get it well on its way to getting marinated for the overnight. Because we're going to be marinating this overnight, or at least 6 to 8 hours, preferably overnight. All right, we got a jerky all separated off. We got equal amounts in each 1 gallon Ziploc storage bag. And we're going to be using 2 store-bought bottled marinades. An Italian salad dressing, and we have a teriyaki. Now we're using this just to get these marinated. Sky's the limit. Any flavors you want to use for yours at home, by all means, use your imagination, do whatever you like, do whatever floats your boat. But the reason for this video is primarily just to show you the actual technique of breaking down your meat, getting it all sliced up, getting it in the smoker. So we're going with Italian and teriyaki. So we're just gonna empty the contents of both bottles in each bag. All right, before this leaks and goes everywhere, I'm gonna get this sealed off. Try to get as much air out of here as possible without having all this marinade to leak out all over your kitchen. All right, get that sealed off. Then we're gonna go in the other bag with our teriyaki. All right, be sure that you have a good seal on these bags because we're gonna wrestle with this for a while to get it all evenly distributed. Because just think, if you didn't have that thing sealed up 100%, you'd have a mess on your hands right now. But just keep going, flip it over and back many times. And that's about it. I'm gonna get it into a container and it's gonna go into the refrigerator for the overnight marinade. And it would be a good idea every hour or so, flip these over, just give them a flip. Go from one side to the other throughout the night. Well, not throughout the night, but at least get a couple of those under your belt and you're good. That'll just ensure an even distribution, an even mix of your marinade. So that's it. Lid on, get them in the fridge, and we'll be back tomorrow morning to get them on the smoker. All right, good morning. It's the next day, and I'm gonna show you what the next step will be. We've got our beef jerky. It's been marinating overnight, and we're ready to get it set up so that we can get it on the smoker. So the first thing I did, I got the smoker already fired up. I'm gonna be running at 170 degrees for this beef jerky smoker. You wanna keep it at low temperatures, 160, 170, you're good. We're also gonna be running with hickory pellets to get a little more smoke flavor on this jerky. So I got some large racks, baking sheet racks, that are all set up. And first thing I'm gonna do is spray it with a little bit of a spray oil, because when this is set up on these racks out on the smoker, they can have a tendency to stick as it's going through that 4-hour smoke process. So this is a little helpful hint that'll help alleviate or prevent the sticking when it's time to pull them off. So apply that little bit of spray oil. Basically just gonna jump in here and pull every piece out one by one. We're gonna lay it flat. Now it's very important that we dry this off. So as soon as I get everything laid out in position, I'm gonna go back and wipe everything down with a paper towel on one side, then we'll do the flip and we'll dry off the other side so that when we get out in the smoker, everything is ready to go. All right, we've got our teriyaki jerky all laid out. And next thing we need to do, very important, is to go over every little piece of meat with a paper towel. You want to get this patted dry as much as possible. We're going to do one side, then we're going to flip them and do the other side. And then at that point, they'll be ready to go. We'll get them outside, get them on the smoker, and estimating about a 4-hour cook at 170 degrees. We'll have to go out and check it out for the doneness as we proceed throughout the cook. But get these patted dry and we'll move on to the next step. Okay, so there's our teriyaki. We got it all laid out. We have it all patted dry. Now, if you don't need to go directly under the smoker quickly at this point, if you have the time to allow this to kind of dry out on its own, definitely do that, because it'll actually increase the dryness of the meat before you put it on there, and it will help execute the whole smoking process more quickly. But if you don't, this is perfectly fine. You can get it right out there immediately after you do this. All right, I'm gonna get these put aside, and then we're gonna continue on, because we have all our Italian jerky in here waiting its turn. So we're gonna basically follow the exact same process. All right, we're outside. We're gonna get our jerky on, and we're running at 170, like I said, and we're rolling with hickory pellets today. So I'm basically gonna place these, utilize all the area of this Yoder YS640 smoker. We're only gonna place the racks in there. We're not putting these entire aluminum chafing pans. All right, that's all there is to it. We're gonna let this roll for a couple hours and we'll come out and check on it, see how they're coming along. But I'm estimating about a 4 to 5 hour cook. So let this run, let it roll, and we'll see you in a little bit. Stick around, don't go anywhere. All right, it's been 3 hours. We're gonna check out jerky. Now, we've been fluctuating between 170 and 180. At times, it's been spiking a little bit. When you're smoking at those low temperatures, you can actually have greater temperature fluctuations. Could be 10, 15 degrees, but we're at a good temp. We've maintained a good temp. We must have a good result, so let's go see. We'll check it out together. Oh, that is looking dead on, spot on. Now, we're gonna give the test. There's a bend test whenever you're doing jerky. And as you can see, I'm removing these from these racks very easily. You definitely need to get that spray oil on there, because that'll help when it comes to this point. Here's the test for good jerky. You want to bend, it should have a little bit of bend, but it should begin to crack once you get it to this point. And to me, with that little bit of bend, that little bit of crack at this point, it's perfect, spot on. Well, let's get this off. 3 hours, that only took 3 hours, and we were running between 170 and 180. So let's get these off. These two are those are the teriyaki. Now, some of these look a little bit more well done, a little drier. That definitely had to have been as a result of where the hotter locations are inside this smoker. So you don't have exactly even balanced heat in all locations. So you're gonna have a little bit of fluctuation on the degree of doneness. Italian up top, teriyaki down the bottom. We're heading inside. Stay with us. Don't go anywhere, because we'll see you in 1 minute. All right, so our jerky has cooled off. It's rested very well, and we're gonna plate this up. But while I'm doing so, I wanna talk to you a little bit about how to store this and best handling procedures. Because this is a homemade beef jerky, first of all, it doesn't have any curing agents in it whatsoever. So you definitely want to keep this refrigerated in a Ziploc bag, maybe a week, or in the freezer. You can put it in a Ziploc bag and store it in the freezer for up to a year. Just take it out whenever you want. Even better, if you have a vacuum sealer, you could vacuum seal these in individual bags. You could store it in the refrigerator. You wouldn't have to put it in the freezer. And you can store it that way for a good year in your refrigerator and use it whenever you'd like. The thing is, with a lot of store-made beef jerkies, they do have curing agents. And also in the packaging, they'll include like a little oxygen packet in there. And what that does, it consumes any oxygen in the package so that it's in an environment that would prohibit the formation of any foodborne pathogens, that type of thing. So always remember, when it comes to curing, when it comes to smoking or drying anything, your two biggest culprits are moisture and oxygen. So I'm gonna get this plated up, and we'll be back in a minute to finish up, so stick around, don't go anywhere. All right, folks, there you have it. We did our own beef jerky. We did an Italian, we did a teriyaki, and you're gonna love this. I hope you're gonna do it at home. If you don't have a smoker, fire up your oven, 170 degrees. You can do this very easily. The only time involved is doing that overnight marination, but you can pull this off in 2 or 3 hours. So now, as you can see, I took this to maybe a little bit I don't want to say underdone, but I prefer to have my jerky with a little bit of flexibility, a little pliability. It almost will give you a little fresher taste in your mouth and fresher feeling. So let's put this to the test. Going in with the teriyaki first. The perfect bite, the perfect tear. It's not crispy, it's dry, but it has a lot of tenderness, has a lot of texture to it. I'm loving this. This is big time good. It is off the charts. All right, let's try this Italian. And like I showed you, we just use a store-bought marinade. Very simple, very easy. This is another killer. Has a little more acidity to it with the vinegar, but all those Italian flavors are coming through bold and bright. And with that smoke, the hickory smoke, man, this is one snack everybody will die for. I hope you're gonna do it at home very easily. Everybody's gonna love it. This makes a great gift if you're thinking about something outside of the box to give somebody who's an avid outdoorsman, anybody for that matter. This makes a great gift. So I'm Tommy the Butcher for Wise Guys Barbecue. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.